What's up, you guys? I'm starting it off today. Welcome to the Who Even Asked podcast with Jazz and
Tay.
Today we're going to be discussing some spooky true crime stuff, spooky stories. This is kind of like our Halloween episode because this episode's going to be released right before Halloween, so you're getting what you get today. So we're just going to touch on that and a couple other things, and you know us, we kind of always go off tangent, so we'll see where this ends up.
Always.
Yep.
All right. Where do you want to start today?
Well, I did want to bring up the Zach Bryan and Brianna Chicken Fry, aka Brianna LaPaglia.
I think that's right.
Breakup. Did you see how that all went down?
Okay, so I'm going to need you to clear a couple things up for me, but what I thought was because I didn't see what he posted to his Instagram or whatever, but I saw that she had made a video and she said she wasn't sure when she wanted to release it or whatever, but she said that they break up the day before and then she didn't know they were going to announce it publicly, or was she blindsided by the breakup?
So she wasn't blindsided by the breakup. She knew they had broken up the day before. But what she was blindsided by was that I think she had asked him to give her time, like a week at least, to kind of like heal,
cope with the emotions.
without the outside perspective. And he said, "F that. I'm posting it to social media, baby." And typical Zach Bryan fashion.
Are you surprised by this?
No.
Not at all.
The dude cheated on his... I almost said deported. His
Tomato.
Deployed wife.
Yes.
Like, what a douchebag.
And then served her the divorce papers via mail?
Something like that.
While she was in another country?
That is crazy. And I saw a bunch of TikToks about how he like repeats this process of like he'll date somebody for a year, buy them a house or buy a house together, and then break up with them after a year and all this other stuff.
Yes. I saw somebody today and they brought that up and they're like, I think he only goes through these like relationships like he does so he can have content for his music, because he either needs to be like madly in love or madly depressed to make good music. But you lose them how you get them, and I'm not very surprised with how this breakup unfolded, to be quite honest.
And a lot of people are bringing up all this stuff that Brianna said about other people's breakups and stuff like that. And it's just not like I can see it on both sides. Like, everybody's talked shit about other people before. Everybody's done stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when it happens to you, of course, it's always just different.
Well, and I feel like you should be more mindful and empathetic when you have like a public platform to voice your opinion. Like, I feel like she definitely sometimes says things without maybe thinking them through all that much. Yeah. So,
like the Menendez brothers thing.
Yeah, or what she said about Grace.
Oh yeah, she's. I mean, how do you feel about that relationship between her and Grace? Like, I feel like she is a shitty friend.
I feel like Grace deserves better. I think it probably wasn't always like that, but I think her, like climbing the ladder at Barstool and like doing all her things. Because at first it felt like she was bringing Grace on to like build her career so they could like do it together. But I also want to say maybe her relationship with Zach kind of clouded some things for her, because I don't feel like she was a bad friend to Grace necessarily before the relationship. It really feels like the relationship kind of made her less of a good friend.
Yeah, and I think it had a lot to do with like them spending a lot less time together. Yeah, because I remember seeing them together a lot, and then after she started dating Zach, they were like barely together. Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do with it, and he seems like the type of person to kind of draw you away. Like he wanted, like she was on tour with him all the time. Like that's a crazy life to live. Like
he seems very like manipulative to me, so I think that's part of his like manipulation. I don't know if it's a tactic or not, or
do
if
we
he's
think
just
he's
a
a narcissist? Yeah, for sure, right?
I'm not going to say what I was going to say, actually, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I like his music, don't get me wrong, but him as a person, garbage. Not a fan.
Yeah, he does not seem like a good person. I do like his music, though. He writes some good songs, though.
But we can't expect a new great album, I'm sure.
Coming soon, I'm sure. He already wrote a song.
Oh, go ahead. He wrote a song about this?
Okay, wait. I didn't want to bring this up about that, too. So it's kind of the same thing. So after he posted the thing on Instagram, he posted a picture of a truck and was like, I can't remember the exact verbiage he put on it, but it was like, got her going again or something, like completely out of left field, and people like were just talking about it because it's like, you just posted you broke up in this heartfelt message and now you're over here posting pictures of a truck. Like,
was it an 88 Ford? We need answers. Is this subliminal messaging?
It was a Ford. I don't know if it was an 88, but
wait.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then later, I don't know if he deleted those other ones, but he freaking posted a picture of a song he wrote, and people are saying it's like a song he just wrote about Brianna or something. I don't know how true that is, but
going back to when they first got together, though, people were alleging that there was like an overlap. Do you think there was an overlap?
Brianna always overlaps. Yeah. Like I think at one point she came out saying that she's always like had an overlap. Yeah. So essentially meaning she has always cheated on somebody.
Yeah, that's just like a casual way of saying I cheat on all my partners.
That's wild. Like karma, I guess.
Yeah. You lose them how you get them.
Yeah.
But what's crazy to me is the buying houses with these people and then just being like, psych.
But guys, he could just be so rich.
Yeah. I hope she gets to keep the house in Massachusetts, though. It's a cute house.
I hope so too. Like, I wonder if he's like, okay, so have you seen that show? It was kind of a crappy movie, but it was like Zac Efron and maybe Nicole Kidman or like Zac Efron.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I haven't watched it.
He dates his assistant's mom.
Yeah.
And every time he breaks up with somebody, he gives him like this, I think Cartier earrings or bracelet or something. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's Zach Bryan's signature breakup move to give him a freaking house. Could you imagine?
There's worse breakup presents.
I know, right?
But also, if you get stuck with a mansion like that and you can't afford it, like, that sucks.
And I wonder how much, like, she's definitely not, like, I don't know, do we think she's a millionaire?
I don't know how much she has, obviously, but I think she's doing okay.
No, she's definitely doing okay, but I wonder if it's, like, millionaire status.
I don't know, but from what I've heard, like, podcasting can be, like, lucrative if you're, like, on that level. And she, I'm sure, is obviously monetizing on, like, social media and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But before they got together, she bought herself a new set of titties. So, she's not doing bad at all. She's fine.
And she probably made a good amount of money off that breakup video she made.
She's going to get something from the breakup. Yeah. Like, it'll be fine. But I do hope she works on her relationship with Grace.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Grace is such a good friend.
I know.
Love Grace.
She seems so nice. And you could just tell, like, I've seen all the, like, edits where they, like, show Grace's face when Brianna's saying all these, like, crazy things. Or, like, not crazy, I guess, but, like,
out of pocket?
Yeah, out of pocket stuff. I was trying to figure out the right words to say.
But I think on their podcast before, she's made comments, like, she's not a fan of him at all, of Zach.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that obviously made a wedge in their friendship also. I'm sure she distanced herself from Brianna in some senses because she didn't like her partner.
That's true. That's always hard too. Like when you're dating somebody and people around you don't like them, but like you like them. But sometimes in relationships, you're so blind to see the truth in the person you're dating. Yeah. And like sometimes those relationships will break and then you'll kind of finally realize like, damn, okay.
Then you see all the things when the rose colored glasses come off type thing. Yeah.
Maybe that's the situation.
They did last longer than I thought they would, though. Yeah. So.
For sure. I didn't think they were going to last this long at all.
No. I was giving it like 6 months.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll get some good music out of it, some good podcast episodes.
Well, she did say that she will be talking about it, just not right now. So, knowing her, she has a podcast. She's gonna probably talk about that on her podcast.
Oh, for sure. So, we might give you an update if we get any juicy details from this story.
Yeah, for sure. So what about like Halloween plans? Do you have any Halloween plans?
Still working on that.
Yeah. I feel like since Halloween's on a Thursday, it's such an awkward day to have Halloween.
Yeah.
And also, like, the older you get, like, I feel like last year was probably, like, my last, like, go out Halloween.
You're a damn lie.
No, well, going to parties and going out to bars are two different things, I think.
So you got invited to a party this weekend. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't know if I want to go out to bars for Halloween anymore. Maybe just go out to parties for Halloween.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I still like Halloween and want to do stuff, but just bars on Halloween are crazy.
Yeah, but it's fun to see the costumes.
Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of really upset at myself this year because I don't have a costume yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, didn't want to buy one because I didn't know if I was going to do anything. This has been a very, like, mild Halloween month. Like, I don't feel like there's been a lot of parties or a lot of, like, things going on Halloween-wise other than, like, the party that I had. But, like, nothing, like, usually there's parties, like, every weekend in October.
Yeah.
Or, like, stuff like that. And this month, nothing.
I guess we're all too broke to have Halloween parties this year. I don't know. We'll definitely figure out something to do at least this weekend. My birthday is this weekend, so when y'all hear this, I will be old.
She'll be 64.
64. So yeah, might do something this weekend. TBD.
But well, happy early birthday. Everybody give Taylor early birthday applause. Wish her happy birthday in the comments, or I guess happy late birthday when this comes out because it'll come out on Monday. And then for her birthday, you can subscribe and share and like.
And give us 5 stars.
Podcast.
Please. That's all I want.
That's all she wants. Yeah. So we do have a couple stories and I think like true crime, and you said maybe some haunted or like
some scary stories.
Yeah. So I'll start with mine.
Okay.
This is, I don't know if you saw on TikTok, this girl, her name was Virginia McCullough, 36. She murdered her parents, John and Louise McCullough, in June 2019 and then lived with the bodies for 4 years. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. The bodies weren't discovered until September of 2023. She, I guess, just went to trial, and she was sentenced to life in prison. And her earliest parole is like at 36 years. She don't
need parole at all.
Yeah. But she hid the bodies in her house, and apparently so she poisoned her father with prescription medication, and then she attacked her mother with a hammer and a knife. She hid their bodies in their home and continued to live there using their money and basically fabricating stories about where they were, saying that they were unwell or they were on vacation. She was like doing it because I guess she had used her parents' credit cards and like scammed them, basically like stole money from them, and she didn't want to tell them or them finding out, so she decided to kill him. Continues to live that way, and she's over here like gambling their money away still, like when they're just like dead in the house. And so she was finally confronted by the police. I can't remember what led them there, but she got caught. She literally says, "Cheer up, at least you've caught the bad guy," to the cops when they're like questioning her, because I think she's from like England or something. Or
she's unhinged.
That is crazy. Cheer up, at least you've caught the bad guy. You need to watch this video, and you guys too. If you're listening, like, go look it up. This lady, there's video, like body cam footage of her saying this to the cops, and it's just wild. And she was basically like, yeah, I knew I was going to get caught eventually. So she just starts confessing. It was crazy.
She would have done less time for credit card fraud than double capital murder. What? And she lived with them for 4. I need more details. What did she do with the bodies? Did she just throw them in a closet? Like,
yeah, so she threw her mom in the closet, and then I think she like put her dad in somewhere. I remember reading it was like she kind of put him in like a tomb, but it wasn't a tomb. I don't know, but this story was crazy. I just remember seeing it on TikTok.
It's giving. She definitely had more beef with the mom than the dad, because the dad seemed very mild compared to the mom. And he's in a tomb, and the mom just gets slashed, and she's in a closet.
With a freaking hammer?
The smell.
Yeah.
Is there not like neighbors close by? Because you've seen those or I don't know if everybody's seen that or if my algorithm's just super weird, but I've seen or heard stories where like if someone died in their house, like people are like either they smelled something or they saw like an influx of like flies or something.
Yeah, I think they had
I'm speechless.
I think she had them like wrapped up. So maybe like everything was like entrapped in there. I don't know. Or maybe like, how did she have people over? Like, because I think it was definitely a house, so there wouldn't have been neighbors to be able to like that close, I think, to smell stuff coming through the walls like you hear in like apartments.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know how she lived with the smell. Maybe she just got used to it, or maybe she just was so good at hiding them that the smell just didn't come through. I don't remember. Those are probably key parts that I should put in this story, but I definitely forgot to. But you can look it up. It's all over TikTok right now. That's how I found it. You can see the videos of her, and it's super crazy.
What do you think should have been the proper like punishment for this? Like, what do you like if you were the judge? Like, what are you doing?
Well, life in prison or death.
This brings us to a hot topic.
Dun, dun, dun.
What are your thoughts on the death penalty?
I believe an eye for an eye.
Okay.
Now, in cases where like accidental, it's case by case. Okay. So like if you have a murderer going out there purposefully killing people, harming people, eye for an eye. If it was an accident and you didn't mean to, like, still your fault, but it's not like something you intentionally set out to do. Yeah. Then I think, no, not an eye for an eye.
Okay. So just kind of like a situational basis.
Yeah, just on a situational basis, I think is the best way to, that's my opinion personally. What about yours?
Okay. I feel like I don't know exactly how I feel about it. I'm very much, I'm not like a super religious person, but I feel like judgment is God's. Like, that's not on me.
Yeah.
And to me, sitting in a cell by myself for the rest of my life seems like worse of a punishment for something than just dying.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've heard people also make the argument that people who are in prison for like murder or like rape charges, or like if they're super like sadistic and creepy, like people make the argument that they can sit and think about their crimes and like they get off on that essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly where I stand with that, but this girl, I don't even know, but she should not be up for parole in my opinion at all. That should have been off the table 1000%.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't know, but this is a different country too. I think.
Oh, so this crime did not happen in the States?
Nope. It happened in, I thought it said Cheshire. Oh,
Chelmsford?
Chelmsford, yeah.
Chelmsford?
Yeah. But she has an accent, so she's definitely not from here.
Okay.
I mean, she could be. I mean, you know, America's everybody, but like, I'm pretty sure she was from somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm truly speechless. I have not been that speechless in a minute.
Yeah. That was a crazy story. I have to show you. Actually, I'll insert it here, but, oh, not that.
Hold, please.
A few moments later.
This is her confessing about her dad's.
Can you go in there for a second, just so I can tell you something about what's in there? My dad's body's in there.
Right, okay.
Yep, okay. Obviously, I'll
What about your mum?
A little bit more complicated.
Okay. Where will we find your mum?
Well, possible.
Where will we find your mum?
Okay, so upstairs there were about 5 wardrobes.
Yep.
It's behind the bed, at the back, next to the sink. I did know that this would kind of come eventually. It's proper that I serve my punishment. I deserve to obviously get whatever's coming sentence-wise, because that's the right thing to do. And that might give me a bit of peace. Cheer up, at least you caught the bad guy.
But now she wants to act like she's the voice of
Right?
reason, like, I deserve my punishment.
She's like, damn, you caught me stealing. Like, no, bitch, you killed people, your parents.
You didn't steal some earrings from Claire's. You 2 slashings of your parents. Credit card fraud, Social Security fraud, or whatever. Like,
Dude, that's just wild. But once again, I'll put that on YouTube. You can see the video with us that we just watched. If you're listening through everywhere else, you know where to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shooketh.
Yep, that was crazy. So, do you want to do yours, or you want me to do all mine?
Yeah, I'll do a little story. Let me pull it up. So I did find these on a Reddit thread. So I don't know if this is like an actual story, or I think sometimes people on there will like write
make up
stories. Yeah, so I don't know. Just a little spooky story for you guys. The title was Had a Run-In While Stargazing. To give a complete rundown, I live in Ontario, Canada, close to Toronto. I heard on the news that tonight there would be a chance to see the Northern Lights again. This past May, I went and saw them and wanted to take the opportunity to see them again. Last May, I went with a couple buddies, but no one was available this time. The plan was to drive 4 hours to Algonquin Park, hike in middle of the forest, make a campfire, smoke some Marlboros, not the cowboy killers, and drive back after stargazing. I end up driving about 2 hours there before my friend sends me a text showing there's no real forecast for the Northern Lights, so I decided to go up anyway and stargaze, a hobby of mine. I drive up another hour, and at this point it's about 11 p.m. in the middle of nowhere, no signs of humans other than the road. No signs of humans other than the road in the pitch black. Sorry, reading is hard. I was on call with my buddy since it was pretty boring driving up, and I started mentioning how beautiful the stars looked. My buddy then recommended that I pull over and take some pictures to send. I end up pulling over, turning off all the lights in my car while leaving it running, and standing beside the forest. For about 5 minutes, everything was fine, and I was admiring the stars, gushing to him about it. Right about that time, the forest went completely quiet. There was literally zero sound other than the wind and the trees. I immediately felt like something was wrong and went to grab my flashlight to see if there was a bear or something. I walk a little bit into the woods and turn on my flashlight. I end up hearing a rustling noise and turned around until... Sorry, they had a typo, not me. Until I see this thing standing on its hind legs with a bright orange/red glow to its eyes. It was about 50 meters away. I start mentioning what I'm seeing to my buddy when all of a sudden my signal goes dead before I stare at it for a second until it starts sprinting at me at full speed. I immediately go into fight or flight and dash to my car, going in and redlining it until I'm doing 300 kilometers per hour. I don't know the conversion for you guys. I'm usually a pretty casual guy and not spooked by much, but I was shaking, crying, sobbing, and trying to run away as fast as I could. Before anyone says anything, it wasn't a bear or anything similar. I start spam calling everyone and annoy everyone, and I can until I get a hold of my best friend and start crying and sobbing about what happened while freaking out. At this point, he just wants to check in to see if I'm okay and whatnot. I start describing to him what I saw and use the name of the subreddit, I don't want to say it even in the text, to describe what I saw. It was this super unnatural looking thing, and it had really spooked me. Right around here is when I feel all the muscles in my body start becoming sore and cramping up. It turned out when I had initially dashed to my car, I basically output all force I could to get away. I'm an ex-rugby player / powerlifter, so my instincts were forcibly making me get out as fast as possible. After about 30 seconds of saying the name, I see the same figure on the side of the road following me with its head and glowing eyes. I proceed to hyperventilate and freak out more until he calms me down and tells me to get the fuck out of there. I started looking for a way to make a U-turn but couldn't find anything. At this point, I drive another 15 minutes before I can find somewhere to turn around without stopping. I start to slow down and make a U-turn before I hear this ear-splitting screaming sound from my window before I gun it back the direction I came. I start freaking out more, telling my friend as everything was happening before I started getting a sinking feeling in my stomach that something was watching me. I start to look all over the empty roads and see nothing. All of a sudden, my signal goes out again, and I hear the screaming sound and see a kind of humanoid body in the fetal position on the side of the road. I then see its head look up and stare at me directly. I gun it again and can't get the goosebumps and sinking feeling to stop. I continue trying to contact everyone I can to no avail. I end up trying to calm myself down with my Kanye CD and hear something tapping my sunroof. I don't know how I knew, but I knew something wanted me to open the sunroof cover and look through. I prevailed and never looked, but never lost that sinking feeling that it was there. I would hear the tapping sound on and off rhythmically, kind of like drums, for about an hour until I reached a small town. At this point, I'd gotten a hold of my friend and puked in my car.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just trying to get back as fast as possible, and he's telling me to describe Elden Ring lore to him to calm me down.
Elden Ring?
I don't know what that means. After about an hour of paranoia, I stop crying and freaking out. I drive as fast as possible to get home, but I can't shake the feeling that they're still on me. I've locked all my doors and windows, and I'm still shaking like crazy. I don't know what to do, and I'm freaking out.
Yeah,
There's my story.
I would zoom out. Ain't no way.
I think I picked this story because I can go down all these rabbit holes about the skinwalkers, and this story
yeah?
to me was giving very much skinwalker, and to me that's scary. So,
Give us a little explanation of the skinwalker.
I don't know exactly. I know, like, people in like Appalachia and stuff, they say, I guess allegedly they can like shape shift, so you could think you see like somebody you know, and so they're always saying, if you see something, no you didn't. If you hear something, no you didn't. Because they can shape shift into stuff that looks like people. They can sound like your loved ones. But I don't know why. I guess it's prevalent in mountains, like forest. So
Yeah.
I guess just, I don't know. I've heard some people allege that they're not necessarily like demon-esque, I guess you could say. Some
Yeah.
people think that there's like a weird group of inbreds for like decades and decades that could be these. I don't know, but to me, I could go down a rabbit hole.
Well, they
It's so
see them
interesting
like
to me.
skinwalkers. I mean, that's like isn't that like a Native American?
I think also, yes.
Yeah, because I remember like I know there's that show Skinwalker Ranch. I think.
I think so. Mhm.
And I don't think, but I heard a lot of stuff about like the Appalachian Mountains, like and how crazy that is, especially after dark. Like people won't go outside, like crazy stuff. We need to cover that one time. Like, go.
No, yes. There's a new documentary that just came out about it, so
Really?
we will have to watch it
yeah.
and do a full deep dive because I could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, that would be fun. I love getting into that stuff. There's so many, and you can go just like you said down so many rabbit holes. And it's
Yeah.
just so interesting, like, because like stuff like that could be out there, man. Like that, you never know.
I believe it 1000% because ain't no way all of these people have some type of like crazy story like that, and it's
Yeah.
not true. And it's like specific to certain regions, you know.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think they could be other places, you know, but seems to be very prevalent in those areas. Yeah. So
just like the chupacabra.
the chupacabra.
My not to derail the story, but like my I think it was my great I don't know who, one of my great grandpas or something on my dad's side. Apparently they used to live in San Antonio and they saw a lot of stuff, and I remember them faintly telling me a story about they were coming home from something, I'm not sure from where, but it was like dark and they were coming at night, that this thing like started chasing them and he thought it was like the chupacabra. But who knows what it was. Could have been a dog, a rabid dog, rabies.
Skinwalker.
So the next thing I kind of wanted to get into is the mysterious death of Brandon Lawson. Have you ever heard about that?
No, I have not.
So like I know a lot of podcasts have covered this, so I'm going to kind of give just like the brief rundown of everything. There's also a 911 call, which is really crazy that I'm going to play. But it's like, so basically this guy, he lived in San Angelo with his girlfriend. And on August 8th of 2013, they had an argument because the night before he didn't come home. Now, he has had, like, a drug problem previously, but at this point, he was supposedly 6 months sober.
Okay.
So I guess when he didn't show up the night before home, the girlfriend assumed that it had to do with drugs.
Fair enough.
So that's why they fought. So at about, like, I think the timing was, like, maybe, like, anywhere from 10:30 to 11 that night, he decided, like, I'm not going to do this, like, I'm leaving. So he decided to drive 3 hours away to his parents' house, which is a long way to drive at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there, it's in Angelo. And so in the early hours of Tuesday morning, like, everybody thinks everything's fine. He's driving there. Brandon calls 911.
Okay.
And essentially this 911 call is, like, very eerie, very, like, kind of crazy. I'll play it for you here in a second, but once you hear it, you're going to be like, wow, what's going on? And I think the brother had said that before he left, he had been on, like, I think it was meth or something. Ooh. So the brother had called, Brandon had called his brother and basically said somebody was, like, after him and chasing him or something. And the brother kind of didn't believe him because they're like, okay, he's, like, the brother knew he had done some drug. Yeah, he was tweaking. So I'm going to play this call for you. And he had, basically, the call happened Tuesday, 8/9/2013, from his cell phone. He said that he was on US 277 between Bronte and Abilene, and he needed the police. So the Coke County Sheriff's Department responded and located Lawson's truck about 4 miles south of Bronte, abandoned partially in the roadway. And I believe another truck, like maybe a truck driver, had called too, reporting this truck was, like, in the middle of the road. So Lawson was unable to be located. They never found him when the police showed up, and they searched the area. So the police had the sheriff had contacted his family and advised they also received a call from him asking for help. So basically what happened was, I think that he had run out of gas.
Okay.
And he called his brother trying to get him to bring him a gas can.
Okay.
To help him out. So here's the call. It's pretty crazy.
9/2013 0:50 and 38 seconds. 911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. It's like we're just pushing some guys over. Right here going towards Abilene on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take the to the woods. Quick burn.
Okay, now run that by.
We're not talking to them. I sure you're in it, Joe.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
That's the first guy. You need an ambulance? Yes. No, I need the call.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah. So I'll play it again.
Interesting.
But essentially, they're saying that you can hear gunshots. He's saying, I've heard of multiple interpretations of what he's saying, but basically people think he's saying a state trooper pulled somebody off to the side of the road and they're chasing him into the woods, and that's when you kind of hear the gunshots, and then you hear more gunshots, and then he's no longer on the phone.
Okay.
So,
Because, it was a little hard to tell what was going on exactly.
It's also very muffled when he's talking, so you can't tell. It almost sounds like he's, like, maybe running or, like, moving.
See, when I was first listening to it, I thought he had potentially shot someone. That's kind of like how it sounded to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously they didn't find anything, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll play it one more time just so we can kind of get another.
9/2013 0:50 and 38 seconds. 911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. It's like we're just pushing some guys over. Right here going towards Abilene on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take the to the woods. Quick burn.
Okay, now run that by.
We're not talking to them. I sure you're in it, Joe.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
So my interpretation of that is, like, maybe a state trooper just pulled somebody off on the side of the road, and since he was out of gas, I don't know. I don't think he ran into him with his truck, but I'm thinking maybe he ran into him when he was walking up the road or something.
So you think he hit somebody with his car, or the state?
No, so I don't think he hit anybody with his car. I think that he, like, ran out of gas. He was waiting on his brother. His brother hadn't come yet, so he was kind of walking up the road and maybe ran into a state trooper.
Oh,
I was like in an altercation with somebody, maybe.
Oh, I see. Okay,
That's
okay.
My kind of interpretation of that. But there's like so many different ways, because a lot of people also thought like maybe he with his truck ran into somebody. But to me, that wouldn't make sense, because if he's out of gas, how he's going to run into somebody?
Right, and there would have been like a scene, you know, something.
Yeah, something.
That's the first guy.
You need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay.
And then he says, like, well, obviously you're reading it, but like he shot the first guy. Mm-hmm. So
Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello?
So do we think the state
Hello?
trooper?
So that was a big thing, like, because I saw one theory where like there was like a crooked state trooper in that area, but I don't know how true that is. I didn't really look into that, and even back then I didn't. But to me, when they're saying gunshots, it also could sound like, you know, like when you're running and you're running with your phone, and you're like hitting, like,
Yeah.
choom, choom. That it could also be that, and maybe that's why like you couldn't hear him anymore.
I'm not sold where it says 3 gunshots fired. That didn't sound like gunshots to me. Like earlier in the call, that did sound like a gunshot, but the last little bit, that didn't sound like that to me.
Yeah, me neither. So I don't know, but it's pretty crazy. Like just that 911 call in general, and that was in 2013.
It's been a long
It's
time.
been a long, long time. And so like there's a lot of theories about it. Of course, foul play is a theory. Others believe he was disoriented and basically succumbed to the harsh like area out there. There's a lot of wild boar.
Is there really? Like when I'm envisioning in my head, like it doesn't seem like there's much out there. Like I don't remember what was the first town it was in between.
Bronte and
Bronte.
Abilene.
I don't know which way Bronte is, but I mean, I've been around Abilene plenty of times.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that it still is pretty flat in that area. You know what I mean? Like, where would he have gone?
Yeah. So this year, actually, February 22nd of this year, they found remains of clothing that they believe belonged to him, and they found remains too.
Oh.
So they finally have found something. So like on the Finding Brandon Lawson Facebook page, they posted that, and they're still waiting for the DNA results. So
it's not confirmed that it is necessarily him or not.
But that's just such a, like, I remember hearing that case such a long time ago and just thinking that's so weird. It's just like a weird situation. Like so much could be.
Sorry to interrupt
No, go
you,
ahead.
but since he did like specify it was a state trooper or whatever, that would make sense if like they didn't really know anything and there wasn't too much information for this period of time. You know, maybe he just like kept people's like, if people had questions or like thought it could be this or that, maybe the trooper was like start steering them in like a different direction, you know?
Yeah. And who, like, if there was, but like we just talked about earlier, if there's a state trooper, you would figure he would try to help or something. I don't know too much, like I said, about this whole crooked state troopers theory, but like I don't know how, like, I don't know about
I don't
that.
know. I'm very much like everyone sucks and everyone's bad, so I could
True.
I'm like, there's some crooked cops out there. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was one recently on the mugshot page for our city. So I don't know. I think it could be a possibility. We can't rule out the fact that he was on drugs, but you definitely could hear a gunshot in the 911 call. So I definitely think something happened.
And he was like, so if let's say he was on drugs, okay, and he was like still kind of under the influence and he was driving, and I had told you earlier that there was like a truck driver who had kind of called in the truck being on the side of the road. So maybe he like and this is just not true, like, this is just my theory of maybe what could happen. Like, maybe he saw the truck driver pull over, and, like, the truck driver tried to check on him, and he was, like, tweaking out and, like, freaked out and kind of ran and thought this guy was chasing him. And then, you know, maybe something like that. But,
well, and because that could also discredit what I was just saying about this state trooper being shady. Maybe it didn't even clearly sound like he said state trooper in the call, or it didn't sound like it exactly to me, but he was asking for cops. And in my head, if I saw a cop doing something shady like that, I wouldn't be like, bring me more of them. I don't know. So,
yeah. But here, he clearly says, my truck ran out of gas, and there's a car here. And then a guy, it's you can't really tell what he's saying.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely hard to decipher.
It was very, very clear, though, when he said, my truck ran out of gas, and there's one car here. So who was that car?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, he could have ran into somebody who's just a horrible person. I mean, we've heard of, like, highway serial killers before and, like, people who do stuff like that. So could have been, like, a situation like that. Or he could have just, you know, been paranoid and ran into the woods, and unfortunately something happened to him.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
I don't know, but it's not... I just don't feel like there's a lot of places to, like, hide around here. I don't know. That's the part that's getting me, is just, like, knowing the, like, terrain. I'm confused by that part. Not that... I mean, they found him there. I don't know. That's confusing to me.
I'm going to look up, like, the map of where he disappeared. Okay, so this is... I'll read this. This is... I don't know how, like, accurate this site is, because it's not a site that I've ever heard of before, but it says that Brandon called his brother Kyle and asked for help. All he managed to basically understand, which what we just talked about earlier, was that, like, where he was, and then he ran out of gas. But I saw this on multiple websites, too, that he was claiming he was being chased by Mexicans in the neighborhood.
So, like, his neighborhood back home?
No, I think, like, maybe where he broke down.
Oh.
But looking at this...
There's no neighborhood, though.
Yeah, I'm looking at this map. I don't see any houses or anything there. But, I mean, Google Maps, too, there could be buildings built that the Google Maps haven't, like, hadn't caught up to yet.
But it just looks like a whole lot of... You got a few trees over on this side, but besides the highway, it just looks like a whole bunch of...
Like,
nothing.
flatland, right?
Yeah, like flatland. That's what's getting me, is like...
I don't know.
That's what they say around, like, here, though. Like, you can watch your dog run away for 2 weeks. Like, it's just so flat. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That part's crazy to me.
And so, like, I think a lot of, like, people just assumed that he was on substances, and he just hallucinated it all.
Which is very sad, though. I feel like this happens a lot too, with, like, sex workers and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, if something happens to people who are categorized as, like, you know, they're less important because they're junkies or they're prostitutes, whatever. Like, people just don't care about their story. And so that is sad that, you know, they probably did at some point just kind of write this off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of his past.
Yeah, but I guess now that they found, like, remains, maybe they can, if it is him, figure out some sort of something that happened. Because, I mean, if he was shot, you'd be able to, I think, if he was shot in, like, a bone, or you'd probably be able to see that. But then again, I don't know what kind of, like, terrain or what even remains they found, really.
Right.
I just know that they found some remains. So.
Well, I guess they left, or they had a description of what he was wearing when he left, I guess. But I was going to say, how did they know that this stuff was, like, his stuff? Or how did they know to think, like, oh, this could belong to that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. So this is, like, from the family this is on June 11th when they posted this. They said, "Good morning, community." And this is the Brandon Lawson Help Find Him Facebook. "Hello, community," or "Good morning, community. We would like to share with you the latest update on the DNA analysis of the remains found in February of 22nd. We've received the preliminary test results of that analysis. The laboratory is currently rerunning the tests to confirm the analysis so that there will be little margin for error and all ducks will be in a row." This is just like an update to that.
Yeah, so not too much of an update about results of the DNA findings, really.
Yeah, I thought that was a post of like...
Is that the area?
Yeah, so see, there's not a lot of...
It's cactus, it's...
flat.
What are those trees called? Mesquite trees, dirt. Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That is really wild. It's just such a...
Crazy.
Oh, wait, this is 2 years ago they found evidence. So maybe it wasn't this year that they found the evidence. I thought that it said this year.
But you know how the labs, they have like such a surplus of things they have to analyze? Maybe it just now is starting to get tested. Like
True.
it's on back order.
Yeah. But either way, that's just super sad. Oh, yeah, so it wasn't this year. And it looks like maybe in 2022 they found the remains.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, but now I'm wondering what exactly the remains were, which...
Yeah. I'm curious to know that as well.
Okay, so this is from, it looks like maybe his girlfriend at the time. This is from February 4th of 2022. She said, or they say, it is with a heavy heart and great difficulty that we have an important update regarding Brandon's case. Our family's long-awaited journey to find answers draw near. For years, we have gone to great lengths to search the area for Brandon's last known whereabouts. Many searches have been conducted in various ways to locate any potential clues. We have had a circle of supporters assisting us in locating Brandon throughout this process. Recently, one of those advocates led a small search party in the vicinity of Brandon's last known location. The search team came upon some clothing that were consistent with Brandon's clothing. So that was something we talked about earlier.
Right.
And then authorities and local law enforcement were contacted and were able to take the evidence in for testing. The Texas Rangers conducted a search that ultimately led them to discover human remains in the same area. Although DNA tests are needed to confirm identification, it is in our hearts that we know that it is Brandon. So it doesn't really say what they found, just remains, which I'm guessing some bones, something along the lines of that. But that is just crazy. Well, look at this, though.
Okay, there's trees and stuff. Okay, this
Yeah.
is a better...
It looks like there's a fence there, too.
Okay, it is desolate, so I could see... Like, it is like a main road, but it's a 2-lane highway, so, you know, no lights out there. I could see some shit going down.
Yeah.
In this location.
So...
Because at first I was going to say, how did they just now find remains, like, 8 years later? Like, that's very odd to me, but
But we can clearly see in this video that,
Yeah.
and the video we're talking about, I probably won't be able to post it because it's like on a Facebook and I don't know how to download that, but it's on the Find Brandon Lawson Facebook page and you'll be able to see it on there. That's where I'm looking at a lot of this stuff, so you should definitely go check it out.
Yes.
But that story in general is just crazy. It's been like, I've always wondered about it because like just that 911 call is so haunting. Like I always think it's so haunting when you have 911 calls from people who either go missing or disappear.
Right.
That's their last known clue. And like, as like an armchair detective, like you really want to like listen to it and analyze it. And you know that thing where like sometimes you listen to it too much or too hard and you start hearing things that you think you hear, but you don't really hear them. Mm-hmm. I feel like that happened a lot with that particular like call.
Yeah. And I definitely was, like I said earlier, very skeptical about the region. But now looking at this, it is like, it feels more sinister, like seeing this, because this doesn't look like there would be anybody just out there. It just seems very desolate. So it makes it a little scarier.
Yeah, it does. So that was, I guess, all I had for Brandon Lawson.
Well, I guess I'm going to send us off with another little spooky story I had for you guys.
In honor of the great Halloween.
The best time of the year. Okay. So this one is titled Grandpa's Funeral Home. One summer in 1987, my best friend and I decided we wanted to spend the night in my grandpa's old house that was located 50 yards from my house. No one lived in the house and it had no electricity. I asked my parents and they told me they would think about it. So the whole day, my best friend and I, along with my younger brother and older cousin, hung out and listened to music. We had to run an extension cord because, as I've stated, there was no power to the house. Well, I was sitting on the sofa chatting with my friend when she got up to walk towards the back room. 2 seconds later, she is running out the house, screaming, "Someone's in the house!" Without skipping a beat, we all ran out after her. Once outside, we asked her exactly what she saw, and she explained to us that she saw a small hand reaching out into the middle of the bedroom. As we are standing in front of the house door, still wide open, we are trying to see something, anything that can explain what it would have been, but there was nothing there. So we walked around to the side door to get a better look, and nothing, that the bathroom door was closed and the light was on. Now remember, there is no power to the house, and we only use the extension cord for the radio. That scared us enough to get my dad. He went in and found nothing, but told us that it was best to stay out of the house for now. Throughout the day, we stayed in the front yard of that house listening to music and played kickball. The radio started playing this one song on all the stations. It creeped us out enough to unplug it altogether. We continued to play. Then the ball ended up in the neighbor's yard, so my brother went to get it. When he was walking back, he looked at the house and yelled at me that someone was looking at him from the bathroom window. I didn't believe him because he liked to pick on me as younger siblings do. So I walked over to him and looked for myself, and sure enough, I saw someone staring at me from the bathroom window, and I can see every detail of her face. As we ran home screaming, we tried to explain what we just saw. I told them she had short, cropped black hair and was real pale with dark eyes. Once I said that, my mom and dad looked at each other and proceeded to get a photo album of our family. He showed me a picture of my grandma, his mother, who died before I was born. He asked, "Was this who you saw?" I said, "Yes, that is who I saw." Then they proceeded to tell me that in the olden days, they held funerals in a person's home, and that her funeral, along with my 10-month-old brother's funeral, was held in that house. And there were more than those 2 funerals in that home. A few months later, Hurricane Andrew hit the Gulf Coast, and the home was torn down due to the damage. Regardless, I never went back in that house.
That is wild.
Right? What got me was that they saw this and they're like, let me just hang out in the front yard.
Yeah, right? Like, I
Like
would
the
not
spirit
go
is going to
anywhere.
stay in the house.
Yeah. No,
Strange.
I would be back at my house. I would not be anywhere near that house.
And I thought it was weird that people just had funerals
Yeah.
in the home. What? I mean, I guess...
In the olden days, I guess that did happen.
Like,
I remember
yeah,
seeing old
but-
movies where that, like, they had, like, the wakes and stuff at people's houses,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, that's...
It's just, like, bad.
Yeah, it's
energy.
bad
I don't
energy.
know.
Even if they, like, I don't know, that's still, like, somebody who's passed away in your house. I don't know, I just...
Which, I mean, people do. People pass away in their sleep in
Yeah.
their houses all the
True.
time.
Very true.
But I guess, I don't know, that just sounded so weird to me.
No.
This is the funeral home.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe like funeral homes or like they have some sort of aspect of like being blessed or like, you know what I mean, some sort of like, not to get all churchy, but like I feel like it kind of does. So
That's a good question, though. Do funeral homes have to, like, sage and cleanse and bless the place, like, often?
I would think so. I mean, I think, well, also too, like, I feel like, you know, like when you have like wakes or rosaries or whatever like type of religion you're with and what they call it, I feel like there's always, most of the time, somebody there like saying prayers and
Right.
doing things. Or I've been to a lot of Catholic ones, so I don't really know about, you know, the other ones, but I know for sure at Catholic ones they do. So who knows?
God, crazy. But if I die, please don't have my funeral in my home.
Same.
Just PSA for my loved ones out there. It's not my wishes.
No, not mine either. I don't. Have you like seen the people who like are like the trees where you can get buried or like as a tree?
Oh, yes, I've seen that. Okay, what do you want to happen to you if you die? Since we're on a morbid topic.
Oh my gosh.
How are you going out?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever thought about that. Now I feel like I'm knock on wood.
Oh, sorry
Sorry,
for
Bruce. Sorry,
bringing
Bruce.
up something a little morbid.
That was me. I did it. I knocked on the wood, Bruce.
It's like, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never really thought about it, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I want to think about it to be completely truthful. What about you?
I want to be put in a disco ball urn.
Serious?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Honestly, that just sounds cutesy, but I really don't care. Y'all can. Somebody told me the other day you can be made into a firework.
Really?
Yeah. That seems kind of cool. Go
That
out
does
with a
seem
bang.
cool. You can do like tattoos with ashes and stuff. I've seen that.
I don't like that. That feels like you're going to carry around some weird energy the rest of your life.
I guess.
I don't know. I'll be dead.
Yeah, true.
None of my business. What y'all do?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I think I used to think about it a lot more. I have had conversations about that before, but I've never, in like the past couple of years, I haven't really thought about that. So I don't know anymore. I don't really know. No answers for me.
But
Yeah.
I guess that concludes the last of our spooky episode for you guys. We want to wish all y'all a happy Halloween. We hope y'all go out and do something fun. Be safe.
Take candy from strangers.
Yes. And before we head out, either next week's episode or some episode to follow this one, we did want to cover the Anatomy of Lies documentary. It's a 3-part series, so a docu-series. And it is streaming on Peacock. So if y'all want to go watch that so we can all debrief and discuss it together, we will be talking about that soon. So we just wanted to give you guys a chance to watch so you'll be able to follow along and know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and just like as a teeny brief overview, it's about this lady who basically, she lied about having cancer, a sickness, and she was a writer on Grey's Anatomy.
She wrote for a bunch of big shows, so even if you're not like a Grey's Anatomy fan, I'm sure there's other shows that she has wrote that you will know. So, haven't watched it yet, so we think it's going to be pretty crazy. So if you guys want to follow along, we will be talking about that soon.
Yep, so like she said, follow along. We'll talk about it soon. And thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you every time you watch, listen. And just thanks for coming on this journey with us.
Yes, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, 5 stars, all the things. And we will catch you fuckers next week.
Bye.